Let's look at breakpoints in Bootstrap. Notice right now this is our 8-4 designation of the 12 grid spacings. The left column is 8. That leaves 4 at the column on the right. But when we make our viewport smaller, the column on the right looks too small to be usable. So what we want to do is we want to create a breakpoint at a certain place in the viewport size to where the column on the right will actually stack under the first column so it looks good. So if you look at your textbook on page 61, they talk about the different breakpoints. We have 5 of them. We have an extra small, a medium, a large, and an extra large. And we're going to work with the medium one that says on devices of 768 pixels and larger, we're going to have the 8-4 column layout. And when it gets smaller than the medium, it's going to stack on top of each other. And we'll do this by working on the first column right here. Remember, we have our container, we have our row, we have our first column here, which has the 8 grid spaces, and we have our second column that has the 4 left over that we don't have to declare. So let's do this. Let's go in and say only go to 8-4 when the screen is 768 pixels or larger. If it's smaller than that, the columns will stack on top of each other. So we're just going to use the medium breakpoint, which is for 768. And all we have to do is come to our first column class when it says column-8. All we have to do is column-MD that says when the column is at the medium breakpoint, make it 8 and the bottom one will be 4. If it's smaller than the medium, they will stack on top of each other. So let's save that and refresh. So that's bigger than 768, but as we move our browser to a smaller viewpoint, they eventually are going to stack. So there, let's look at this. Let's use the developer tools in Chrome. To use the developer tools, go to View, Developer, and choose Developer Tools. So go to View in the top menu of Chrome, go to Developer, and choose Developer Tools. And you'll notice that in our window, we can click on the little devices right here, Toggle Device Toolbar, right here where my mouse is. And you can see it defines the actual width and the height of our viewport. So as we move it to the left to get smaller viewpoint, we're still above 768. But notice when our width is below 768, 757, the two columns are going to stack on top of each other. And when they get wider than 768, they're going to go to the 8-4. And remember, this is our syntax. In the first column, we just have to declare div class call dash medium. That means the breakpoint is at 768 in our viewport. And when it gets to 768 and above, it's going to go to 8 with 4 left over for the second column in the Bootstrap grid. So let's play with this a little farther and add an extra large viewpoint port in for devices 1200 pixels and larger. So in this same column, our first column, after we have the call-med MD-8, put a space after the 8 and put another call in, dash XL for extra large, and then dash 10. That means for the medium breakpoint, it's going to be an 8-4. Left column is going to be 8, right column is going to be 4. And then on the extra large viewpoint port of 1200 pixels and larger, it's going to be a 10 grids for the left column and 2 grid spacings for the right column. So let's save this and look at it. Refresh. So let's take it to the minimum size. So when we're below 768, we're going to have a stacking for small devices. Above 768, we have a 8 and a 4. And then when we go above 1200 viewport, let's get this wider so we can get above 1200. It goes to a 10 and a 2. So that's the way you can create breakpoints for different size viewports, or what is basically the width of a browser window. So let's go ahead and set up for our next content, because we're going to take the right image out and put some text over here. But let's set it up for a large viewport of 8.4 and an extra large viewport of 9.3. So let's get back into our code. And we're going to go large over here. And we're going to set up an 8.4 for the large. And for the extra large, it's going to be a 9.3. Put 9 here. And the right column will get 3. So let's save that and test it. So that's a little better. That's a 9.3. There's your 8.4 at the large. And below the large, it's going to stack as a vertical stacking. All right, so we're set up, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some text content instead of the same picture in the right column.